Hello, and welcome to the Data Intervention. I'm Mac, a Principal Analytics Consultant at MeasureLab. In this series, we're going to cut through the noise and figure out why your data is a mess, and ultimately, what we can do to fix it. In this episode, we're going to start at ground zero, the real reason your data can't be trusted. So let's get to it. If you've got difficult or complicated infrastructure, you've got one website points to another website, you've got random subdomains, subfolders, root domains, and iframes and things like that, you end up needing a complicated analytics implementation over the top. So what you've done is you've effectively created a whole bunch of technical debt. And so often the main reason is analytics is just not considered in the initial planning. So there is something called the MarTech stack, which is an interesting piece of work. And basically it goes, you've got infrastructure, analytics, content, and then channels. And that should be the level of importance that we should lay on things, starting with infrastructure, because obviously without the infrastructure, you can't convert. But what happens time and time again is analytics is just missed completely out of that decision. What happens then is, because we end up with bad data in, we get bad data out, and then people question the value of the work and the data and the insights, and it just becomes a bit of a loop. Analytics is often seen as, we have a short-term fix and we need to fix this piece of tracking. And once we fix it, we can move on. The problems often are a lot more long-term. So the cost of constantly fixing something is much higher than proper maintenance. Often we have, a client or a brand will invest initially in their measurement implementation. They'll spend lots of time and effort on it, and then they'll just completely forget it. And then what will happen is, the marketers will use that implementation, and then over time, it will slowly degrade and break. And then every now and again, there'll be a big flow of work to try and fix it again if there's like some change in the infrastructure or have you. But if you actually were regularly maintaining it, it would be a lot cheaper and a lot easier. And if you had your planning built into any site change before it went live, so if you're a product owner and analytics is not part of a release, then you're effectively adding to the technical debt and you're adding to the cost. Another key thing I think really is also governance. And the key thing that governance does, documentation does, is it allows for the fact that people are changing their jobs quite a lot at the moment, especially, and people are changing their suppliers as well. So if you have a piece of governance that people are introduced to when they come in and out, when they come into the company, and then they introduce that governance documentation to the people that go out of the company, and that can be external and internal, you don't have this issue of constant amnesia around what did we set up, when did we set it up, who set it up, is it working, and I don't understand my current marketing or my implementations. There's a few things there. Infrastructure, complicated infrastructure, the fixing things as they break rather than all at once, and not maintaining them. And then the issue with kind of this constant amnesia and lack of governance and documentation. The main common data disaster and misconception is the fact that analytics is often considered far too late in any new project. It can be considered a week before a new website's going live. And that is often the biggest disaster. The assumption is that your brand new Shopify website is going to have analytics completely enabled, and moving your data layers back over is going to be easy. And we just take the Google Tag Manager container from one site and we add it to the next site, and it's going to work perfectly. If it's not part of your plan and you don't have at least 10% of your budget associated with the analytics component, you're going to have problems. So what's the real cost of poor tracking and analytics? Confusion, stress, anxiety. It means that if you're trying to, if you take the two teams really that are involved, it's your marketing team. So campaigns are delayed when they go live. It means that you're not able to judge the performance of those campaigns. It means that effectively you could be wasting money. If we look at product analytics and we look at trying to improve the user experience, then it means that everybody's been a customer. Everybody's been a person that is trying to buy insurance. And if you're going down a web form and you can't get past a part of a web form, people can relate to that. But the flip side of that is there's an analytics team somewhere that hasn't set up the measurement, isn't reviewing the errors that come through, isn't looking at, struggle scores or anything like that. And then the customer's thinking, I don't understand why this error or problem's happening. How could they not know? If you don't have a proper measurement plan in place, if you don't have proper tracking in place, this could be happening all the time. Like, we all hope that we can find this magic bullet where we go, we've seen this thing happen and therefore we've saved you loads of money. But in actual fact, it's often a death by 1,000 cuts. And so if you don't have the tracking in place, especially for product analytics, to be able to understand the user experience, to see where all those different cuts are happening and how they accumulate, then you're not going to be able to solve it. And effectively, you're bleeding out. So thanks everyone for listening. I'll be covering a video again soon, and that'll be the analytics maturity curve. And that's how we can start our journey in intervention and prevention of bad tracking. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and you can be notified when we release new videos. Please feel free to reach out if you have any suggestions of things you'd like us to cover. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.